What do you suppose America means to that auto repair man in the grease-cake dungarees who works in the garage in the corner of Willow and Elm Street? It means, quite likely, crawling under the 1936 Buick and dragging an electric light bulb on a long extension after him.
Hey, Joe, hand me that wrench.
What wrench?
The wrench at your feet. I got to finish this apprentice job.
Why don't he sell that jalopy and get a new boat?
Hey, you want to talk us out of business? As long as he keeps his car, we get a repair job once in a while.
Yeah, guess you're right.
Sure. That's America to Pete and Joe. Piston job, transmission job, valve job, jack it up, change the tire. New fan belt, check the pump. On Saturday night, take the girl down to Joyland Dance Park. Means repairs to those boys and cans of oil and carburetor mixtures. And to Jack Prentice, who owns the Buick that Pete is fixing and who lives down on the beach near the Coast Guard station, America means the sound and the sight and the smell of high tide under the full moon, with occasionally the melancholy note of the bellboy drifting up when the wind's blowing in from the ship channel. Means the age-old sound of the sea. The same sound folks are hearing this very minute up around Penobscot Bay and Winthrop Beach and Chincoteague Inlet down by Calabogue Sound and on Boca Chica and then clean over to the other coast by Guadalupe, Carmel. Yes. Wind and wave and sand and rock and riptide and undertow. That's America to Jack Prentice and the hundreds of thousands of folks settled on the coastlines between Eastport and Key West, Point Isabel and Birch Bay. America is all things to all the people. Prairie to Nebraskans, coal to Scranton miners, cameras and raw celluloid to the picture boys in Hollywood, the stink of crude oil to the men who work the wells, relief checks to the unemployed, a mic and a stopwatch to a radio production man, a BMT Express to Brooklyn office workers. Sure, that's the way it goes. Or isn't it? What does this country mean to you? It might mean anything. Anything at all. It might mean a course in highfalutin poetry at Harvard.
Today, gentlemen, we will consider the influence of Whitman on the development of poetry in America. And by 1870, after 12 years of incessant attack against squeamish over-refinements, Whitman really began to create an active distaste for literary affectation.
Or else it might be an argument between two baseball fans as to which is the better team, the Yankees or the Red Sox.
Yeah, but look! The Yanks are a bunch of old men and cripples.
Yeah.
They won't last. I tell you, they won't last. Wait till it gets good and hot around the middle of July.
Yeah.
Wait till doubleheaders begin piling up.
What are you talking? Listen, DeMayor's is having the best season he ever had. He's an old man, huh? Keller hitting a dozen homers. I'd like to be a cripple like that. New home run record for the club. Won't last, huh? Who's the Red Sox got as good as DeMayor's? Name one guy. Name one.
Name two. Ted Williams.
Oh, a good hitter. No getting away from that. But you say better than DeMayor's?
Pitching.
Wait a minute. Do you say...
Or it could be a poker game in Charlie Ferreter's law office upstairs over the 5 and 10 cent store on a rainy afternoon. Or a meeting of the Kiwanis Club in the Mansion House on Thursday. Or the news store. Or a great symphony concert sent out over everybody's air, playing the music of all the world's great composers, regardless of their race or nationality. For instance, something by a great German Jew named Mendelssohn. Something you couldn't play in certain countries on the other side. Now let's stop a minute and figure this out. Is it an accident that makes just being a citizen in this comparatively young country so attractive to so many people? To the world's greatest skater from Norway? To the world's greatest mathematician from Germany? To the world's greatest orchestra conductor from Italy? Is it an accident that 1,000 million people all around the world would give everything they own to be in your shoes? A free citizen of this country, right this very minute? Is it the weather here? Let's ask some of the natives. You from New York, how's the weather out your way?
Oh, I like it all right, only the summers give me a pain, sticky and hot. And then we usually get a stretch of terrible overcast weather around April and November. Sometimes 10 days go by without the sun coming out once.
And you, miss, from Miami, Florida.
Oh, our climate's fine. Except you have to watch out for sunburn.
A gentleman from Kansas?
Summers get pretty hot. Winter's pretty cold. Tornadoes raise a ruckus every once in a while.
Los Angeles. You?
Wonderful climate. Magnificent.
Don't you ever get tired of all that sunshine?
No, sir. Not a bit.
Never rains?
Well, a little precipitation maybe, but no rain.
No earthquakes?
No, just little ones. Are you interested in some real estate?
No, thanks. And you from San Francisco, how about it there?
Best climate in the world. Top.
Lots of sunshine?
Lots.
Lots of fog?
Lots.
All right. Then it's not the weather which makes us so attractive. Is it maybe our wine, women, and song? Let's ask the experts. You there, expert on women.
American women are beautiful, certainly. But we've never produced any classic or historic beauty. We've no legendary figure to compare with Helen of Troy, or with any of the Greek or Roman Venuses, or with Egypt's Cleopatra. As far as fiction is concerned, we can offer nobody to stand up against Italy's Juliet, or Germany's Isolde, or France's Roxanne. Certainly not Scarlett O'Hara.
Certainly not.
No, indeed.
All right, that's fine. Thanks very much. Now, what about our wines? Is that what makes America so attractive from the outside looking in? How about it, wine expert?
American wines are excellent, but then, of course, meaning no offense, have you ever heard of French champagne, Burgundy, Liebfraumilch?
All right, thank you. Thank you. Can it be our song? Maestro.
America can well be proud of its composers and of its wealth of folk music. But the fact of the matter is that we have yet to produce a single world-great symphony, whereas Finland has produced 7, Germany and Austria 100, the Russians about 12, the French 2 or 3, England 2 or 3, Bohemia...
Not song, then. Neither wine, women, nor song. So what is it, then? Well, it's this. Come right down to it. It's the spectacle of nearly 150 million people trying to live up to the expectations of a handful of great men who lived and died 150 years ago. Men who were so fed up with the kind of government they'd been getting, they sat down and wrote a new constitution for themselves and their children. A democratic constitution that's been added to, but never been topped before or since.
Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof,
or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press,
or the right of the people peaceably to assemble and petition the government for a redress of grievances.
No person shall be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law.
The right of trial by jury shall be preserved.
Excessive bail shall not be required, nor excessive fines imposed, nor cruel and unusual punishments inflicted.
Neither slavery nor involuntary servitude shall exist within the United States or any place subject to their jurisdiction.
The right of the citizens of the United States to vote shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or by any state on account of race, color, or previous condition of servitude.
Or on account of sex.
Those are pretty good sentiments to be kept alive and flourishing in the world today. Of course, there are other things that makes our union a good one to belong to. It's a beautiful country, even though it has a lot of incorrigible badlands and corrigible slums. Aren't many countries have as much in them to look at and wonder about as this one. This can be a rather fierce country, too. Ever see the way its mountains frown down sometimes? Know what they're frowning at? Some rumors they heard about petty intrigue, about political bosses and shysters and fakers and grafters and men who make a business of gypping the people. Ever see the way the skies suddenly get black and the thunder roars and the lightning starts throwing itself around? Ever see a storm whipping it up across the Great Lakes? That's how the American winds feel about anybody who denies anybody else a fair trial, or free speech, or the right to assemble, or the right to worship as one sees fit. Well, then, in the final analysis, there can be no analysis.